And it is pretty embarrassing for Britain to have the special relationship that we have with the United States of America, but Donald Trump has seen fit not to invite Sir Kier Starmer.
British Prime Minister Kier Starmer has notably been left off the guest list for Donald Trump's upcoming inauguration on January 20th.
Kier Starmer not invited to Donald Trump's inauguration? Yes, you heard that right. In a move that has left political experts and the public stunned, the UK Prime Minister will be conspicuously absent from one of the most high-profile events in global politics. Was it a simple oversight or a deliberate disregard? This incident has sparked heated discussions about the state of the special relationship, Britain's global influence, and whether personal rivalries are now shaping international diplomacy. Kier Starmer's absence, a surprise that speaks volumes.
When Donald Trump is inaugurated as the 47th President of the United States of America, I consider it to be a massive stain on British history that our Prime Minister will not be there.
At the eagerly awaited inauguration of Donald Trump, UK Prime Minister Kier Starmer will not be present. His absence will send shockwaves through diplomatic circles, sparking endless questions about what this really means. Was this a small punishment for Starmer's past criticisms of Trump, or a deeper political statement? Traditionally, the Prime Minister's presence at such events is a show of the strong, special relationship between the two nations. Starmer's exclusion, however, feels less like a simple scheduling conflict and more like a planned cold shoulder. It's a reminder that politics is as much about relationships as policies. The UK's global influence takes a hit.
Pretty awful, is it not? That, here we are, supposedly the friend of the United States, the special relationship that exists between the two countries, the long history of support for one another in times of war and in times of peace, and we don't have a seat at the table.
By missing Trump's inauguration, the UK risks appearing irrelevant on the global stage. For years, British leaders have used their close ties with Washington to influence global decisions, but Starmer's absence might signal that those days are fading. Critics argue that this absence could weaken the UK's ability to shape US foreign policy. The message it sends is clear. Britain may no longer be the go-to ally it once was. This disregard could have ripple effects, making it harder for the UK to push its agenda with the world's most powerful country. The special relationship cracks in the foundation.
The United States is our closest security ally. And as we've discussed on your program many times, the world is getting far more dangerous, far more unstable, and we need to be close with America.
The so-called special relationship between the UK and the US has always been a source of pride and political leverage. But Starmer's exclusion from Trump's inauguration has thrown this relationship into the spotlight for all the wrong reasons. Opposition parties in the UK are already sharpening their knives, accusing the government of failing to uphold the nation's image on the global stage. Critics argue that Starmer's absence is more than just an oversight. It's a reflection of deeper issues. If the UK can't even secure a seat at one of America's most important political events, what does that say about its standing in the world? Starmer versus Trump. A clash of personalities.
And Western nations, particularly Britain and America, need to work together to unify and stand up to that threat.
Kier Starmer's history of openly criticizing Donald Trump has not gone unnoticed, and it's likely a significant factor behind his absence from the inauguration. Starmer has never shied away from calling out Trump's controversial policies, from immigration bans to climate change denial. This public outrage might have turned into a personal grudge, with Trump deciding to freeze out the UK's leader as a form of retaliation. Experts are already analysing their past interactions, suggesting that this disregard is more personal than political. If true, it's a troubling sign that diplomatic relationships can get entangled by personal egos. Royal representation, a questionable substitute.
William and Catherine, along with the King and Queen, have all been invited to Trump's inauguration on January 20th in Washington, D.C.
In a surprising twist, a member of the royal family will attend the inauguration instead of the Prime Minister. While the monarchy technically represents the UK, this decision feels unusual for such a politically charged event. Sending a royal might be an attempt to maintain diplomatic protocol, but it also raises eyebrows. Is this a genuine gesture of goodwill or a desperate attempt to cover up Starmer's exclusion? The overall effects are undeniably odd, especially since the royals traditionally avoid obvious political situations. This move could be seen as a way to smooth over tensions, but it also risks further complicating the UK's already fragile situation. After all, while royals are respected, they don't hold political power. Their presence may not carry the same weight as that of the Prime Minister. Trade talks in jeopardy.
Britain wants to make clear that parallel talks with America would pile pressure on the EU leaders in discussions about a post-Brexit trade deal.
The timing of Starmer's exclusion couldn't be worse, given the ongoing trade discussions between the UK and US. With Brexit reshaping the UK's economic landscape, securing favourable trade deals with the US is more critical than ever. But this diplomatic disregard might complicate matters, as it could be viewed as a decreasing of ties. Trade talks require more than just negotiation skills. They depend on mutual respect and cooperation. Starmer's absence risks undermining these foundations, making it harder for the UK to secure the deals it desperately needs. Global challenges demand stronger alliances.
UK Prime Minister Rishi Sunak and US President Joe Biden have decided to take their countries to centuries-old trade and economic relations to the next level.
In an increasingly dangerous world, the importance of strong alliances cannot be overstated. The UK and US have long stood shoulder to shoulder in addressing global threats from terrorism to the spread of nuclear arms. But Starmer's absence at Trump's inauguration might send the wrong signal at a time when unity is needed most. With mounting challenges from powers like Russia and China, cracks in the UK-US alliance might encourage adversaries and undermine collective security efforts. The world is watching, and any sign of conflict between these two allies could have far-reaching consequences. Public reactions, a media storm unleashed.
It seems a little bit confusing, puzzling as to why the Prime Minister, whatever you think of the Prime Minister, is not invited to be part of the inauguration process.
Starmer's absence hasn't just sparked political debates, it's set social media on fire. Platforms like Twitter and Facebook are overflowing with reactions, ranging from genuine concern to complete mockery. Some are calling it a diplomatic disaster, while others see it as proof of Trump's arrogance. The overwhelming amount of online chatter reflects the global fascination with this incident. This social media storm adds another layer of pressure on both governments to address the situation and clarify their positions. A wake-up call for UK foreign policy.
Does that also suggest that there's something that the Prime Minister might have done to mean that he would be excluded from it?
If there is anything that they've done, then that should be overlooked in some respect.
Starmer's exclusion might be an indication that the UK needs to reassess its foreign policy strategy. With its traditional influence waning, Britain can no longer rely solely on the US to uphold its global standing. This disregard could push the UK to diversify its alliances, seeking stronger ties with other major powers like the EU, India, or Japan. Calling out the US further could backfire, especially with ongoing trade negotiations hanging in the balance. the UK must find a way to navigate these uncertain times while balancing its need for new partnerships with the necessity of maintaining its oldest alliance. Kier Starmer's exclusion from Donald Trump's inauguration is more than just a headline. It's a wake-up call. This diplomatic ignorance challenges the UK's traditional role as a key ally of the United States and exposes the fragility of global partnerships in a world dominated by personal and political divides. As Britain stands at a crossroads, the question remains: will this incident inspire a diplomatic reset, or will it mark the beginning of a chilling new era in UK-US relations?